heading to lunch shortly, but let's take some shares. Over here. Who's got a share? Give it to me. Come on. Who's got a share? I'm just going to throw it at you if you don't share with me. Okay, all right, cool. What do you got?
So, I got for, let's see, enter their world. I can enter in that core desire of wanting something more. For enhance their language, I can shift their mind away from focusing on pain to focusing on the possibilities of a better life.
Okay.
And enhancing their language, I think I can help them have a language of hope, of determination, of belief. They can have it.
That's a great first step. All right. Go and throw it back. Do clap. Boom. But that was a lot of generalities, man. You got to be way more specific. You know what? Here's some hope. You got to use words. Sex, power, money to have it all, right? That's what Garrett came up with. Garrett needed to take this transient feeling of all this stuff, and he needed to bring language to it so that someone could identify, so that he could mirror, so he could mirror with someone, so that he could pair up. Remember, how do you pair up? You start to understand their views, understand the vocabulary. Otherwise, you're like speaking two people speaking who don't even speak the same language. It's like going to, if I were to go to China, I would literally sit there and I wouldn't know what to do because I don't speak their language. Can't market to them, I'll try to connect with dance, physically, literally, but you get what I'm saying. You got to speak their language. So, okay, someone over here. Wasn't shared yet. Back there.
The questions that they're asking are, how can I find adventure? How can I do something new? And I'd introduce extreme experiences, Rocket Fast, James Bond. And then I'd bring them into my world so they could experience that.
Okay, cool. Do clap. Boom. One last share over here. Who's got it? Come on. Come on. What do you got?
So I realized that we have, my partner's here too, we have a story, we're in financial services.
Where's your partner at?
Lenny Fly.
Stand up. All right, cool, go ahead.
Lenny and I have a story around our business, and we talk about it, and we're excited about it, but I realized that we don't share it. We use the financial services lingo, the bullshit, the assets, liabilities, 401k, yada, yada, yada,
Yep.
when it comes time to deliver. But we are not entering into the lives of our clients, which is actually around Regina Allen, who died in October and was a client of mine for 6 years. And it's that story that we wanted to build our brand around, and then we don't share it.
Yeah. And what might happen if you start to share the story?
That we could actually get into the heart of what really matters inside of our clients.
Yep.
And that the financial service products and solutions and shit are things that they're going to want to solve for themselves because of the family they care about, because of the businesses they care about.
Yeah.
And we're not driving that.
Yeah. How many of you guys feel like you're not a storyteller? This feeling of, what the fuck is a story? How do I introduce storytelling in my marketing? Stories are vehicles of connection. Write it down. A story is a vehicle. You're taking someone, you're connecting, you're evolving their motives, you're evolving their connection till they get to the final. Dating, vehicle of connection. Stories are vehicles of connection. Cool. Do clap. Boom. We have one last conversation to dive into that heads into lunch, and then I'm going to finish this presentation up. Let me talk about advertising. That's where we bring the tangible. That's where we take all of this psychological jargon, all these words. Some of you guys are like, glitching out. They're like, yeah. Right? How many of you are glitching out right now? That's okay. It's okay. We're going to dive into scripts, how to today. So don't worry if you're not getting this yet. You just need to understand the distinctions. For my landmark dudes, distinctions, huge word. You need to understand these differences. All right, so final conversation before we end is conversation of awake. I'm going to share a little bit of this later, but I'm going to tell you the ending, part of the ending before we get into it, is that too many of you are pitching it awake. You're entering it asleep and pitching, pretending that they're awake. I just assume I'm awake, so they are. No, they are not. And I get into that in a deep way later.
What
Instead of-
Jeremy just said is worth millions of dollars, and most of you are so fucking asleep, and we're going to have to bring you along to even understand that. How many of you in the room have experience with marketing and business? What Jeremy just said, just access the reason why you are literally millions less a year in revenue, because you are entering it asleep and pitching it awake. Raise your hand.
Yep.
Motherfuckers, I'm going to charge you $10,000 more for that one right there, just that one statement. I'm telling you right now, you better write that shit down. I never interrupt except for, well, sometimes when I interrupt. And on this moment right here, he's brilliant as fuck. Also, some of you in the room right now that are new to the game, your minds are like, oh, when are we going to do the real thing? Guess what? This is the real thing. There's 1,000 people can teach you tactical shit. You get a free fucking Facebook ads training from Facebook now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the shit that builds empires. So if any of you in the room are starting to get a little, oh, I don't know where we're going, it's because you're probably not actually producing much. The producers in the room, go look at their fucking journals. They're shitting their pants right now over the changes they're going to make and the fucking money they're going to make. If that's you, raise your hand. Well, it looks like it's more people than I was anticipating. Finlay, continue.
Thank you, sir. Always appreciated, good man. Final conversation, then we're going to eat. Hey. Bring the lights down. All the way down. All the way down. Let's go to awake. I get very emotional when I see that. In that movie, he's about to die. In his last moments before Xerxes, he drops his shit, gets on his knees, closes his eyes. And he goes to his base fucking motive. Which is mine and it's yours. Love. And in that fucking moment, closing his eyes, going to a moment where pure love is experienced. How many of you guys have had a moment like that? So powerful. So powerful, right? So what does he do? He opens his mouth, he opens his eyes knowing that he's about to fucking die. And he smiles. And he delivers the decree to the huddle. They open up. The spear comes out. And they go to a last fucking bloody war. But why? He wanted love. All the lights up. He wanted her. At the very last moment, as arrows have punctured him, he gets up and he says, "The Queen!" My wife. My love. And in that moment, his life ends. Rewind. You saw the moment of him fighting. What was he doing? He wasn't just moving, he was what? He wasn't just dancing, he was what? He was fighting. When you wake someone up, it's not easy. Waking someone up involves expanding their pain. Waking someone up involves bridging, but making and widening the gap. And it's fucking painful. It's fuck. Some of you guys are here, you sacrificed a lot, right? It's painful to be here for some of you, yes? Right? So why the fuck are you here? If you're just dealing with your base desires, your fucking base desires of I just want more love and sex, then you'd be going and doing that. So why are you here? You're what? You're fighting! For what? For you, for your wife, for your kids. And this is the conversation of Awake. Why do you think Garrett is always in code red with you guys? Why do you think Warrior Week is so painful? It's because in the conversation of Awake, it's a war zone. That might be literal. That might feel different. It won't be literally be a war zone. It won't be yelling and kicking and screaming, but that's what's required here at Warrior for us to do. We've got to fucking grab onto you, dance with you, wake you up, and then it's like, okay, now let's go to war together, right? We get in. Gah! Hey, sex. Have it all. And when you wake someone up, it's like, let's go. And that's what Garrett had to do. To all of us. To the whole team. He sacrificed a lot. The moments. I witnessed the kneeling. The smiling. And the fighting from him. If you've been lucky to witness that, then you know what I mean. It's painful as fuck. Many of you inside of this place have empathy for that because you can relate, right? How many times have you had to do that? You're about to get into the fight and you're like, oh, this is going to be hard. Oh, fuck. went through Warrior Week 49 a few weeks ago because I was at this stage of nearly burning, and I'll share that shit later. But I was like, awake is not easy. We're going to cover this stuff real quick, and then we're going to go to lunch. So listen, give me the slides back. Inside of awake, we have views, vocabulary, and we have value. First view. So we have self-view at asleep. We have at world, we have their worldview. But at awake, we have their front view. Just like, okay, path. Create their path. You must create their path, otherwise they stand there, aware. What did Morpheus do? What is the blue and the red pill? It's a path. Distinct. But what is it? It's a path. He created a path. Created a path. Second piece. Enroll them in your language. Enhance their language, and then you move to fucking enrollment. No, this is your new language. This is the way that you identify with. This is your language. Have it all? Warrior fucking king. I don't care about having it all. We take on the identity of a warrior king, and it's sacred to us. It's not just some fucking bullshit, whatever. I'm a warrior. I go to war. I'm a king. I fucking protect my kingdom. We enrolled you, for those of you who've been in the game for a while. For those new guys who are like, I don't know what the fuck, but don't worry, we'll seduce you into this identity, I promise. I am a warrior king. Enroll them in your language. You must create language. Guide their motives. This is the part, AZ. I want more. I want more service inside of getting a house. Gosh, I don't deserve a house. Don't deserve it. Whoa. Enter the solution. I can get a house, right? That's the next thing. Oh, shit. Cool. AZ and Associates has not entered the conversation yet. That's aware. I can't to I can. Asleep to aware. Awake is, AZ and Associates is the thing. Does that make sense? I can't is asleep. I can is aware. Oh, fuck. Your thing is awake. Pitching at awake. Pitch at awake. Do not pitch at asleep. They just still believe that they can't. Don't pitch at aware. They're just barely realizing that they can. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. And when you lead them into awake, the only thing they see is you.
That was another one of those that you should be like, what the fuck? How many of you just had another what the fuck? Raise your hands. I'm telling you right now, millions and millions and millions of dollars are being created right now in this room from this motherfucker opening his mouth. And if you're not catching them, don't worry, you'll work for one of the guys in here that is.
If you can take someone from aware to awake, you're the only one they want. Period. That's called trust, real trust. If they don't choose you, it's because they don't trust you. But when you can lead someone to awake, trust is created. Real trust, genuine trust, love, connection, trust is created. Quickly, let's run through these. So, create path is how. This is where we get into the how. Your prospects start asking, well, how do I do this? Right? I can't to I can, well, how? I can't to I can to how do I do it? I'm looking for logistics. I'm looking for details. I'm looking for a way. How? Here's how. How long? How much? When will I? What is? When will? You create the path by helping them see themselves being able to walk it. If you say have it all, you can't take on the idea if we presented an impossible path, you'd be like, gosh, that's amazing. It's like an Everest, though. I can't fucking climb Everest. Because I'm just not good enough. I'm broken. Back to asleep. They must see themselves walking. This is something that Garrett told me years ago, and I was like, holy fuck, that's so big. Garrett was the guy that helped me see that one. Enroll them in your language by helping them identify statements, introduce new phrases. They can identify that statement of being with. So before there was like identifying experiences, pains, motives. They must identify their state of being. This is the third level. I'm identifying my state of being with you. Warrior King, my identity. I'm going to take on this state of being every day. Every day, core 4. Every day, this style, because it gets me into the state. Lastly, guide their motives. We just talked about this. Hey, man, here's the thing. Yes, it's possible. Now, here's the thing. Aware to awake. The issue, like we talked about, you enter at awake because you're awake and you lose them. I see the yawn. I know you're hungry. You enter at awake because you're awake, and then you lose them.
That was the third one. Say it one more time, Jeremy.
You enter at awake because you're awake, and then you lose them. Because they're not awake, and they're not even aware of you. They're not even aware that it's possible. You enter at awake because you're awake, and then you lose them. So there you go. Instead of awake, you must enter at asleep. You fucking getting this or what? Yes. Are you getting it or what? Yes. Are you getting it? Yes. Final piece. And then we're going to move later into advertising about how to do all this and make it work. Pair up at asleep. The dance begins. Pair up. Power up at aware. And then pitch up, because I just like the up thing, and then it makes really no sense. It's like a layup. Pitch up at awake. Pair with them. Power them up. Pitch so that you can go. So we're going to go on our final piece, final debrief, and then we're going to go to lunch. So we have at asleep, aware, awake. And you can break it down like this. Write this down real quick. At self, we're talking about emotions. Deep emotions. At world, we're talking about logical. It's just the way I see it. Why do you see this? No. It's just the way I see it. Just the way I see it. And then 3, inside of the path, you go ahead and bring it back over, is we're talking about practical. How do I climb Everest? Cool. Logically, I can do this. All right, but how do I do it now? And this is our example of warrior. Sex, money, power, to sleep, have it all, core 4, aware, warrior fucking king, at awake. How many warrior fucking kings do we have in this fucking room? Ho! Doing a debrief starts now. Get in. Write first before you talk.